Bani Abidi is a masterful storyteller. Using irony, she addresses issues like militarism and nationalism while playing on memory, identity, and belonging. Abidi's work often uses deadpan humor, yet, as we'll see, it is no laughing matter. Hello, my name is Bana Kattan, and I'm the Pamela Alper Associate Curator at the Museum of Contemporary Art, Chicago. Today, I'm walking through the exhibition Bani Abidi, the man who talked until he disappeared. Abidi was born in Karachi, Pakistan, and studied in both Pakistan and here in Chicago, where she lived for 6 years that were very formative to her career. Today, she lives and works between Karachi and Berlin. This exhibition explores more than 2 decades of Abidi's practice and features videos, photography, a sound installation, a brand new work, as well as work from the MCA Collection. During this short tour, we're going to be looking at a few pieces in the show, as well as hearing from the artist herself.
Hi, I'm Bani Abidi. I'm speaking to you guys from my studio in Berlin. I'm an artist working mostly with video. Showing at the MCA is a very exciting moment for me. It's interesting to mention that I was studying in the painting department at the School of the Art Institute and only started working with video after graduating. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I got to watch a lot of cinema at what was then just called the Film Center. One could just watch films from everywhere just for $2 at that time. It's always important to mention that that kind of was a game changer for me because I learned how to work and I understood and appreciated what it meant to work with time.
Upon entry into the exhibition, you'll immediately encounter these red security barriers dividing the entrance of the exhibition into half and forcing the visitors to decide which side to walk in from. These barriers are part of the artist's interest in what she calls exclusionary architecture. This includes roadblocks, security gates, and technology like intercom systems. Barriers determine how we move through space. They negotiate state power, and they reflect how people relate to each other within divided cities. As an artist deeply involved in the exhibition design, Abidi developed these barriers to choreograph our experience as we walk through the exhibition, while also drawing attention to their contested status as objects of control.
I returned to live in Karachi from the US around 2003. And that's when I noticed of how many different kinds of barriers were arranged all over the streets around different buildings. Post 9/11 urban environment had now accounted for a lot of division and regulation of bodies, of who was allowed, who wasn't allowed, who was inside, outside, who was going through checks and x-rays or had to show their identity. And I think it's important to remember that this isn't how we moved around cities all the time. And in a similar way, the intercommunication devices that is showing right next to the barriers is looking at the kind of regulation of people inside and outside homes and in residential wealthier neighborhoods in Pakistan where you can have entire conversations with somebody outside just through the buzzer. And that's a way of regulating who enters and who stays outside.
Drawing on observations of everyday objects and occurrences, Abidi's early experiments explore both animosity and shared culture between India and Pakistan. In Mangoes, Abidi plays 2 women protagonists from each country. The women reminisce about home and childhood, but soon their camaraderie turns into competition and goes beyond the simple pleasure of eating mangoes.
You know, my mother wanted to send me a crate of mangoes to this cousin of mine who's coming here, but the customs people here just don't allow it. And it's such a disappointment. I know. I'll hopefully be going home in August, so I'm hoping to get some good mangoes.
In the news, Abidi plays two television anchors, one from India and the other from Pakistan, each reporting on the same international event, an absurd tale of cross-border egg theft from their respective sides. Although the performances highlight the difference between the two countries, the work's staging, tone, and antagonism mirror one another. Anthems features a split screen of two young women, again, both played by Abidi, each dancing to an Indian and Pakistani pop song respectively. While it initially seems like the women are alone, eventually you can tell the television monitor connects them. Each character continues to raise the music's volume until the competitive mood reaches a shrill pitch. More than 1 million Indian soldiers served the British Crown during World War I, a fact that has remained broadly unacknowledged by historians. As a result, their service has been largely erased from collective memory. Abidi uncovered this hidden history using folk songs, poetry, and a historical archive of letters featured in this work. The soldiers are conjured in this artist's installation through intimate letter exchanges with their families back home, including descriptions of forlorn love, poverty under service to the colonial regime, and struggles with death away from their homeland. The work serves as an anti-monumental memorial to those forgotten soldiers. In this MCA Collection work, titled Reserved, the entire city of Karachi comes to a halt in the expectation of the arrival of a state dignitary. Over time, the reception committee gets more anxious and people waiting in the streets grow more impatient. The traffic jam becomes a symbol of the ironic and elaborate drama of control and the nervous anticipation around waiting. The series, The Man Who Talked Until He Disappeared, lends its title to this exhibition. These watercolor portraits show Pakistani journalists and activists who live under political threat and surveillance. Through these 24 portraits on display, Abidi reveals the diminishing spaces of dissent. Some of the unnamed journalists and activists in the watercolors have gone missing as punishment for their reporting and political beliefs.
The work on which the title of the show is based, The Man Who Talked Until He Disappeared. These are a set of watercolors I've been doing for the past couple of years while listening to interviews of activists and bloggers from Pakistan who have actually, some of them have been disappeared and picked up and were missing for a while, and others are threatened with the possibility of being taken away. What is important to mention is that there is something about the act of disappearances that in Pakistan that is kind of connected to the US. Not kind of, it was institutionalized after 9/11 when people were being picked up and taken to Guantanamo. And it gave kind of a carte blanche to the authorities to take people away in the dead of night without due process. And since then, it has become part of the political reality of Pakistan.
Abidi's newest work, The Reassuring Hand Gestures of Big Men, Small Men, All Men, presents an archive of images of prominent leaders and heads of state from around the world. These portraits document the physical, posturing, and gestures that leaders use to evoke charisma, camaraderie, and patriotism, which we often associate with a particular vein of masculine leadership. Abidi identified specific body language shared across historic eras, geographic boundaries, and political parties. The resulting portraits, which are close-up photographs of photographs, capture these performances of power while also indexing their unremarkable commonality. In this work, like so many of Abidi's practice, we see the artist subtly playing on the absurdity of nationalism and patriotism, demonstrating that laughter can really be an ally in reclaiming agency in the face of the very powerful. Thank you for joining me on this short tour of the exhibition Bani Abidi, the man who talked until he disappeared. This exhibition was curated by Khour al-Qasimi of the Sharjah Art Foundation, Natasha Ginwala of Gropius Bao, and myself, Bana Kattan from the MCA Chicago. It will be on view here at the museum until June 5th, 2022.